Hello friends and welcome back to my homestead. Today I'm harvesting some of my herbs and it's already early September, so it's kind of late in the season. Normally I try to harvest most of my medicinal herbs that I grow in my backyard sometime early to mid August, but life went crazy and totally unplanned things were happening, so I lost track of time. So I cannot go into the winter months without echinacea because here's my echinacea jar, and guess what? It's empty. I do have some tincture that I made last season, and the tinctures can last you for ages, like 10 years. So I have the tincture, but I also like to make echinacea tea, and as I've said, it's empty. So I went out into my backyard and I harvested a little pile of echinacea plants that I have, and they are coming towards the end of their blossoming season, but they're still salvageable. So I had to go through and pick the best looking I could find. They already look a little wilting because I picked them early in the day and it's already evening time. So I need to process them tonight. All right, so a couple of things that I want to talk about echinacea. So it's a common plant, that it's a perennial plant. It's going to keep coming back and coming back. Very often the echinacea root is used for tinctures and it's considered to be very medicinal, but root needs to be dug up later in the fall. I want to say October, early November, so which I can do as well. I have plenty of that growing, and I have a video, and I can put up a link above and in the description below about how to make tincture using echinacea flowers. And I have a lot of echinacea growing. I guess God really knows that we need it, right? So but I want to make some dried leaves for tea. All right, so let me show you what echinacea tea looks like when you buy it in the package. And I'm not going to show you guys a package that I bought it from. I just want to open it. So here it is, first of all right? And my fingers are dirty from all the harvesting today. All right, so I'm just going to rip it open and I'm going to pour it out. And I'm gonna pour it out into a spoon. So basically it's a teaspoon worth of echinacea. All right, I want to bring it up closer to the camera a little bit, and I want you to look at it. First of all, look, there's no color to it. It looks like brown dust. Okay, if I smell it, I don't smell anything. I smell nothing. I smell absolutely nothing. So the reason for that is not because it's a bad company. No, this is actually a good company. The thing is that it was harvested who knows when. It's been sitting in the warehouse for who knows how long. And then on top of that, it's been sitting for a while on the shelves of the supermarket. This is why I want to make my own. And my echinacea is going to be a little bit different than just dried herb. Okay, I'm going to ferment it. So friends, if you follow my channel, and if you're not following my channel, please subscribe. Please hit that little bell button so you don't miss anything that's going on our homestead, because Mama Lil is busy and I try to put out as much of content as I can. So, okay, so what am I gonna do? Okay, because I found that they're a little bit dusty. I don't know from what. I'm gonna be just taking off the petals, okay? I'm gonna take off the leaves, and I'm gonna rinse them off, okay, because I want them to be clean. Normally, like I said, I don't wash my herbs, but today I felt like I need to do that. So it is towards the end of the season and a lot of them already passing its prime, but thank goodness I was able to find still a lot of good flowers that I still can use. So all I'm doing, I'm just taking them off the stem just like this, and I'm gonna rinse them. So it's not very dirty, but I see some stuff floating anyway, so I'm glad I washed it. Okay, so now I'm just gonna dump it in a towel and just to dry it up for a little bit before I continue with my process. And I just want to talk to you guys about the echinacea for a little bit, right? So why do I use it? Why do I like it? Why do I like to keep it in my medicine cabinet? Okay, I like to keep it ready because this is a great immune support herb, great for immune system. And as we guys know, we are surrounded by who knows what situations right now as far as the sickness going around, you know, the common one we know about. Begins with a C, ends on Ovid. So anyway, so I want to dry this up just a little bit because I'm going to be putting it through a fermenting process, okay? So I just wanted to lose a little bit of liquid as possible. All right, just a little bit of liquid. So just because we don't need all that extra liquid. I like to use it to treat cold, flu, sore throat, overall exhaustion. It helps to build up the immune system. There are studies that came out from some of the European studies that showed how effective Echinacea really is as far as the immune support. I often combine it together with other herbs that I have, with bee balm and with elderberry syrup to combat whatever is going on in the world right now. So I'm just going to give this a few minutes to dry up, air dry a little bit, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, so most of it dried up the best it could. And now I'm going to put everything in a Ziploc bag. It's a freezer bag, but you can put it in any kind of container you want, because this is going to go into the freezer for about 8 to 10 hours or something like overnight. Okay, it's not going to go bad if it stays in a freezer a little bit longer. So why is it going in a freezer? See, the freezer is going to speed up the process of the breakdown of these leaves, okay? And that's going to be the initial step of the fermentation process. So all I'm doing right now, I'm picking up all of my leaves and all of my little petals that I have here, and I'm going to put them all in the freezer overnight. And then tomorrow morning, I'll show you what happens. Okay, so about 14 hours passed. It's been sitting in my freezer in this bag. Now let's take a look what is going on here. All right, so everything is nice and frozen. And if you guys have seen my other videos about how I made fermented stinging nettle tea, it pretty much was the same thing. So notice how the leaves turned nice and dark. See that? And they're going to be very brittle at this point, very brittle. And what I need to do is I need to massage them and break them up a little bit. They literally disintegrate and they break in my hands. So I'm going to do that with all of these leaves, okay? I need to massage them, I need to break them. Some people roll them in their hands like this. That's possible as well. Or just kind of like break them up in any possible way you want to, okay? I even seen people put them through a meat grinder in my country. I see people do that and they put it in the meat grinder. But what it's doing is that this process allows all these little fibers to kind of like break up. And all of these leaves that contain all of this medicinal property, they are forced to be released. They're forced to be released. So all these cells are being broken up. And that's why this tea will be very dark and very fragrant. Not like if you just dried it all up, okay? So I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna like break them up, massage them in my hands, anything like that, because I need to break its structure, okay? So it's gonna take me a little while, and I'm gonna store everything in a bowl. So I try not to work with plastic for fermentation process that much, or metal. I try to do it either in a stone or ceramic or glass containers at this point, okay? So I'm gonna break everything up just like this, okay? And I'll show you what I'm gonna do at the end. As you guys breaking them up, you're gonna notice that some of these leaves, as the leaves falling off, the stems are remaining nice and chunky. So it's probably not gonna be a good idea to save them like this for the tea. So what I would do is just take a pair of scissors and cut them into smaller little pieces, so they will dry up much smaller rather than a big long stick. You won't be able to use it in your teapot or whatever you guys are going to be using. So all I'm doing, I'm just cutting them up to make sure that all of these big stems are broken up, okay? Just wanted to mention that before I move on. This is why I see some of my Russian herbal colleagues, they will put this through a meat grinder, because that way they all kind of pulverize together. All right, but I'm gonna do it with my hands because I don't have that much. If I was making a mass production and a lot, then obviously I would be doing it differently. If I was making this for sale or for other people, then this is just a stem. I mean, excuse me, this was just a flower piece. If I was doing this for sale, I would be wearing gloves. But since I'm making only this for myself and my family, you know, it's just my clean hands. Okay, so I kind of broken them all up. I cut up all of the stems because it was not just the stems, it was the veins in the front, in the middle of the leaf. Because you know the cornflowers have that, echinacea flowers have that in a stem. It's kind of very firm vein. So I pulled that all out. I cut them all up. Like, see, like this is part of the vein. I'll just cut it up. I don't know if the camera is close enough for you guys to see that. Okay, so please excuse my hands. They are covered from doing all the massaging and cutting and all that. And again, because I'm making this just for my family, I'm not going to worry about wearing gloves because my hands are clean. But if anytime this is done for someone else, probably wearing a pair of gloves is a good idea. Okay, so everything is cut and I'm just pushing it all down. Because why? At this point, I'm gonna put some sort of a weight on it. And all I'm taking is a clean plate. And let me put this closer so you guys can see it. All right, and I'm just putting a plate underneath, just like this, just to put some weight on it, okay? Because I wanna make sure that everything is pushed under. All right, hold on a sec, let me wash my hands. Okay, and now I'm gonna take a clean towel. I'm gonna cover everything with a clean towel so make sure no bugs come in or anything. And I'm gonna leave it on the counter just like this for the next 6 to 8 hours to do its fermentation. The temperature in my kitchen right now is nice and comfortable, 72, 73 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit, excuse me. And it's just gonna sit here and it's going to do its fermentation. And then after 6 or 8 hours, I will show you what I'm gonna do next. Now, I have read that there are other fermentation methods that will call for more than 6 to 8 hours. They can do as much as 24 hours of fermentation. But that I found is better to be used on very firm kind of leaves that are very, very porous and very firm, I should say. But these are, guys, are very, very gentle. And in 6 to 8 hours, they will be done with fermentation. Okay, friends, so 6 hours has passed. Please excuse the noise behind me. I am doing some pressure canning. So that's a pressure canner making that noise. But my herbs have been sitting and fermenting in this little container now under a press. Let me show you, for 6 hours. All right, so it's been 6 hours. Let's take a look. First of all, it has a very nice and earthy aroma. Okay, I'm gonna take off this plate. All right, everything got nice and dark, almost a brownish discoloration. Okay, and now I'm gonna put it on, if you like, you can cut it up more, chop it up right now, but I think I've broken up enough. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay it all out in a single layer on my dehydrating tray. And it's gonna go into the dehydrator for probably overnight. I wanna say probably about 8 hours, but I'm gonna keep checking on it, because it has to be dry, crispy dry, because I don't want to store it if there's any moisture left in it. So okay, let's take a look and see what's going on here. All right, I'm gonna turn this off. Let's take a look. Now, one thing I've learned about herbs, sometimes when they first come out of the dehydrator, they're still hot. I mean, well, not hot, but they're warm to touch. So they really need to dry you off just a little bit. And they literally have to snap in your fingers, okay? So the herbs need to be so dry. And look how dark and beautiful Echinacea came out to be. Wow, I'm excited. All right, friends, so here is my Echinacea, okay? And once it cooled off, I put it all in my jar. and everything is labeled. So now for the next couple of days, 2-3 days I should say, I'm going to be doing conditioning. What it means that I'm going to be checking in its condition. I'm going to shake just like this, and I'm going to listen for the sound of that dry, sharp sound of the herbs. However, if in a couple of days I'm noticed that the sound changed to more of a thuddy kind of sound, like a wet, heavy sound, so that means there's moisture left somewhere in this jar, and that means I probably need to dry it a little bit longer. However, if I am checking at it and I see a little bit of mold in it, the whole batch has to be discarded, and that is very unfortunate. So that's why conditioning or checking in its condition in the next few days is very important. All right, friends, so this is it. This is how I preserve and get my Echinacea leaves and flowers fermented to turn into dark and beautiful herbal tea. All right, so be encouraged, friends, and try something new.